Hello everyone. Hope everyone is fine. Today we will study the theories of public administration. Theories of public administration are divided into classical and contemporary theories. The timeline of classical theories is from 1890s to 1930s, and that of contemporary theories is from 1930s onwards. We will study these theories one by one. Max Weber, a German sociologist, gave the bureaucratic theory. According to this theory, bureaucracy is a formal system of organization based on a clear hierarchy, governed by written rules and procedures, and managed by specialized officials who are selected based on merit. There are 6 core principles. Number 1, hierarchy of authority. A top-down chain of command where every office is under the supervision of a higher one. Number 2, impersonality. Decisions are made based on objective data, not emotions or personal relationships. All citizens, clients are treated equally. Number 3, formal rules and regulations. Everything is governed by written, standardized rules to ensure consistency. No one is above the rule book. Number 4, merit-based recruitment. Officials are hired and promoted based on technical qualifications, examinations, and experience, not political connections. Number 5, division of labor. Tasks are broken down into small, specialized jobs. Each employee is an expert in their specific area. Number 6, career orientation. Bureaucracy is a lifelong career. Employees receive a fixed salary and a pension, protecting them from arbitrary firing. A prime example is of large corporations. Companies like McDonald's or Toyota use bureaucratic principles to ensure that a product made in Tokyo is exactly the same as one made in Lahore. Bureaucratic theory has been criticized. According to critics, excessive paperwork and hierarchical approvals cause delays in decision-making, which is the reason of red tape. Critics argue that rules become more important than objectives, which cause rigidity and inflexibility. Bureaucracies discourage innovation to maintain strict hierarchy, maintain status quo, and from the fear of violating rules, which result in a lack of innovation. Scientific management is the shift from rule of thumb, guesswork, to exact science. It is the art of knowing exactly what needs to be done and finding the one best way to do it. Time and motion studies. This is the heartbeat of efficiency. By using a stopwatch to time tasks and analyzing every physical movement, Taylor eliminated wasted effort and established a standard time for every job. Functional foremanship. Taylor replaced the single boss with 8 specialized supervisors. 4 plan the work and 4 execute it. This ensures every worker receives expert guidance in every specific niche of their task. Standardization. No more personal styles. Standardization ensures that every tool, method, and condition is identical and optimized. It creates a predictable, machine-like consistency across the entire organization. Differential piece rate system. Money is the motivator. Under this system, high achievers are rewarded with a higher pay rate per piece, while those who fall below the standard are penalized with a lower rate. It makes productivity a choice of the pocket. The mental revolution, the most critical shift. It demands a total change in mindset. Instead of management and workers fighting over profits, they must cooperate to increase production. When the surplus grows, both sides win. Fayol's theory focuses on functions of management. Fayol gave 14 principles for management. Fayol's work was further expanded by Luther Gulick and Lindahl Irwin. They introduced the acronym POSCORB, P for planning, O for organizing, S for STFINF, D for directing, C for coordinating, R for reporting, and B for budgeting. Contemporary theories emerged mainly after World War II, 1950 seconds onward, as a response to the limitations of classical theories, rigidity, overemphasis on structure, neglect of human and social factors. These theories focus on flexibility, participation, efficiency, governance, and public interest in a changing global environment.
This theory emerged during the 1930s, particularly after the Hawthorne studies. The core idea of this theory is organizations are social systems. Human behavior, motivation, and relationships directly affect performance. The Hawthorne experiments were a series of studies conducted to examine the relationship between working conditions and employee productivity, which ultimately revealed the importance of human and social factors in organizations. The central focus of the behavioral approach is human behavior in organizations, especially decision-making. According to Simon, administration is the process of decision-making. Simon gave 3 key concepts. Number 1. Decision-making as the heart of administration. Number 2. Bounded rationality. Number 3. Satisficing behavior. Number 4. Fact-value dichotomy. Number 5. Empirical and scientific method. Leadership is the ability of an administrator to influence, guide, and inspire subordinates to achieve organizational goals in the public interest. A leader has certain characteristics that are mentioned. On the other hand, motivation refers to the internal and external forces that stimulate employees to work efficiently and willingly toward organizational goals. There are various motivational theories that we will study. Talking about leadership, it is the action of leading a group of people or an organization. There are different types of leadership. Number 1, autocratic leadership. In this leadership, the leader makes decisions unilaterally with little or no input from team members. Centralized decision-making, strict control, clear instructions are characteristics of this leadership style. Number 2 is the democratic leadership. In this style, the leader involves team members in decision-making while retaining final authority. Collaboration, open communication, shared responsibility are the characteristics of this style. Number 3 is the laissez-faire leadership. In this, the leader provides minimal direction and allows team members to make decisions. Hands-off approach, freedom for team members, minimal interference are the characteristics of this leadership style.
Motivation refers to the internal and external forces that stimulate employees to work efficiently and willingly toward organizational goals. There are major motivation theories. Number 1 is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Maslow's hierarchy of needs is basically a way to understand what drives people. Think of it like a pyramid. People start with the basics at the bottom and work their way up. First, the basics, physiological needs, stuff like food, water, sleep, and shelter. If you're starving or sleep deprived, nothing else really matters. Next, safety. Once your basics are covered, you start caring about feeling secure, like having a safe home, a steady job, or being healthy. Then comes social stuff, love and belonging. Humans are social creatures, so friendships, family, and relationships become important. Feeling connected to others matters a lot. After that, esteem. You want people to respect you, and you want to feel confident and accomplished. Think of recognition at work or feeling proud of what you've done. Finally, self-actualization. This is the I want to be the best me I can be stage, pursuing passions, being creative, learning, and reaching your full potential. Basically, Maslow says, you can't really focus on self-growth if you're hungry, unsafe, or lonely. You climb the pyramid step by step.
Herbert basically said that there are 2 different things that affect how happy you are at work. First, hygiene factors. Think of these as the basics, stuff like your salary, job security, office conditions, or company rules. If these are bad, you're miserable. But if they're okay, you're not suddenly jumping for joy, you're just not unhappy. Second, motivators. These are the things that actually make you feel pumped and satisfied, like getting recognition, having responsibility, learning new things, achieving goals. When these are present, you actually want to do your best. So basically, fix the hygiene stuff so people aren't unhappy, but give motivators if you want them to actually feel motivated and perform well. McGregor basically said that managers think about their employees in 2 totally different ways. Theory X is the people are lazy view. Managers think employees don't like work, will slack off if left alone, and need to be pushed, watched, or even threatened to get anything done. Basically, if I don't control them, nothing will happen. Theory Y is the people are motivated view. Managers think employees actually want to do a good job, can take responsibility, be creative, and don't need constant supervision. Basically, give them freedom and support, and they'll step up. So really, how a manager sees their team totally changes the way they lead. Theory X, strict and controlling. Theory Y, trusting and empowering. Public choice theory is basically looking at government and politicians through an economist lens. Instead of assuming that everyone in government is just selfless and working for the public good, it says, hey everyone, even politicians and bureaucrats are humans with their own interests. Think of it this way. Politicians want votes. Bureaucrats want bigger budgets, more power, and recognition. Citizens often don't bother monitoring government because it's a lot of effort. That's called the free rider problem. So when laws are made or policies are implemented, it's not always about what's best for society. It's often a mix of what benefits the people making the decisions, what pleases powerful groups, and what wins votes. The good part? It's realistic. It helps explain why governments can be inefficient or slow. The bad part? It's a bit cynical. It assumes people are always selfish, ignoring those who genuinely care about the public. Basically, it's like saying, don't just look at what government should do. Look at what people actually do when they're in power. NPM is basically saying, hey, let's run the government more like a business. It came up in the 1980s because people thought governments were way too slow, full of paperwork, and not really getting things done. The idea is simple. Focus on results, not just following rules. Treat citizens like customers, give better service. Let managers have some freedom to make decisions, but hold them accountable. Sometimes even outsourcing or privatizing stuff to make things faster. It's great for efficiency and speed, but the downside is it can forget about fairness or social justice because businesses care about profit, not always what's right for everyone. Imagine the government isn't some all-powerful boss telling everyone what to do. Instead, it's like the captain of a team that includes private companies, NGOs, and other organizations. Everyone works together to solve problems. Decisions aren't just top-down, they're made together in a network. Everyone brings something to the table: money, skills, knowledge. It's flexible and great for handling big, complicated issues like cities, climate, or health crises. Basically, it's like saying, I can't fix this alone, so let's team up and share the work.